Good morning. Hello. Happy Monday. Welcome to Beans. I'm Shelley Van. This is my co-host Dan. How you doing?
Not bad.
Yeah?
Not bad. It's definitely a Monday though.
Oh, it's extra Monday today.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody that's already here. Thank you for being here. And Bad Sheep, just a shout out. I saw you comment on the tweet and not in the live chat. So if you want your name on that wheel, make sure you comment on the live feed on X or over on YouTube. We'll be doing some giveaways today, per usual. So Dan, you were off on Friday. How was your weekend?
It was good. I was out in Virginia Beach. Had a bachelor party to go to, so played a little golf, hung out on the beach a little bit. It was nice to get away, and now we're back at it here.
Recovery mode.
Yeah.
What? Are you a golfer?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm not like the best. I'll play. I can hold my own, but I'll lose like 5 or 6 balls probably around. So I need to get to like not losing any balls.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But definitely not the best.
Well, that's fun. Who's getting married?
This is a friend from college. He's getting married in October, so.
Very cool. Well, congrats to him, and welcome back. And then we have a big week. We are going to Toronto on Wednesday for Consensus. If anybody's in that area, hit us up. The whole team, well, 3/4 of the team, me, Dan, and Ryan, will be running around all of the Consensus conference. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. Definitely meeting up with some partners there. Did you schedule any meetings?
Oh my gosh. So using the app, I have maybe a dozen. I think I may have overscheduled myself because I was trying to see like what panels do I really want to see, and then in between the one-on-ones. It's a really cool setup to be able to just like, hi, I'd love to talk to you. We'll meet at this table over here at this time. It's like,
There's like a designated like meeting area, isn't there?
Yeah.
That's where you schedule all of them pretty
Yep.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, just through the app.
Nice.
So a lot of women in the space have reached out, which is cool.
Yeah.
Love connecting with more of that demographic, and shout out to all the women in crypto. So yeah, I'm excited.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm excited to see how it goes. We'll definitely be hitting up some side events too. We got some invites to some dinners and stuff, so it'll be fun.
Yeah.
But that means we won't be around Friday.
Yeah, no beans
Again.
on Friday. So sorry.
Yeah.
Beans on Friday has been taking a hit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we just need to make this show extra awesome. That said, let's kick things off with a giveaway.
Sure.
Everybody, if your name's not on this wheel, get in chat and make sure, again, you're in the actual chat and not just commenting on the tweet.
The tweet.
Yeah.
Make sure you're in
the live stream, either on X, YouTube, or Facebook. What up, Wanderer? Sonya's here. Kronos, Bebs, haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. Bad Sheep, Frank, Fredarm, Crypto 4 Retire, Apsy, Charlie with 2 E's, Mac Yank, Carlos Xavier, Logan, Beloved Summer, Scott Acker, Ruvanchi, Crypto Priest, Sale, Sarth, myself doing a test, Jacob Anthony, Milana Rupin, Clean with a K, Scott Acker, Ben Butler, Crudy, Jay Horizon, and Laura Taveras. Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for being here. How was everyone's weekend? Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Hope everybody we had some awesome weather out here.
Yeah. It's going to be great out here this week too. So, fortunately, we'll be missing most of it.
Yeah. All right, what are we giving away? USDC and what else? Anything?
Let's see.
Check on the Zora.
Yeah. We could also mint something if you want.
Ooh, we could do your favorite meme. Although yours wasn't a meme. I put Dan in the newsletter. He was gone, so this was not approved. Your Stone Cold Lock of the Week.
Yeah, I mean...
Stone Cold Lock, Crypto Lock, whatever.
Stone Cold Crypto Lock.
Yeah.
Of the week. If anybody reads the newsletter, I'm doing one token a week that I do somewhat of a overview on and give you links to the project to go check it out yourself. So last week we did BitTensor, which is an AI token. Yeah, so we could do. Didn't you have another meme in there?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, we could do that, or we could just do the word of the week or the word of the day.
Okay. I'll
It's
let
up to
you
you.
decide. All right, let's spin this. You'll get a surprise Zora token drop, plus $1 in USDC. Crypto for Retire is our first winner of the day. Congrats. Token. Ooh, I'm using my stolen hotel pen. I love this pen so much.
The Kimpton.
The Kimpton. It looks like a pencil, and this is an actual eraser.
Does it erase the pen?
No, I tried. I don't even care. It writes so nice. This must be a girl thing. Like when a pen writes really nicely, it's so wonderful. Does anybody else? Do you have that? You're like, I don't care as long as it writes?
I have terrible handwriting anyways, so I don't think the pen would matter for me.
Uh-oh. What's happening? I need to turn off my notifications real quick. Oh! iPhone and Android users, are we all equally as upset that Android did an update and now it's like, it looks like an iPhone, and I'm like, well, I didn't want this. I didn't ask for this. How do I turn off? Oh, do not disturb. There we go.
I did not see that.
Yeah, my phone updated, and I am an Android user for a reason. And this latest update was like, ooh, we're gonna be like iPhone. And I was like, but, no. I hate it. Anyway, I saw a TikTok with somebody else saying, like, the Android users are upset. Like, why would you do this to us?
I've noticed they also have you can do like iMessage now, or not iMessage, but the messaging is somewhat similar.
Oh, yeah, like I can
RCS, that's what it is.
Is that what it's
It's
called?
some like protocol messaging, because before when you were in a group chat, you had an Android user in there. iPhone users didn't get some of your like messages or media.
Or the reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I like the interoperability getting better, but don't make my UI look like an iPhone.
right.
I felt like, well,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
being your phone. Oh, did Wanderer win? Did I respin?
Yeah,
I must
Wanderer
have.
run. Yeah, Wanderer run.
Congrats. I don't know what the heck I was saying. Wow, happy Monday. Laura, love Sharpie S gel pens. Ooh, Wanderer again. Congrats, 2 times. I need an S gel pen. Sounds lovely. Ben says, I don't mind it. Windows 11 looks like Mac now, so I'm used to it. Interesting. Well, I can't win, so respin. We still need to come up with what happens if we win on accident. Scott Acker, congrats. And to anyone who has won merch credit in the past, we have not forgotten about you. That is all documented and scored. I am just really trying to find the best place for good quality merch. So we're still, it's in process. Chatal Gadara, hello and welcome and congrats. You have just won $1 in USDC plus a Zora token drop.
What's
is
up,
just
Chatal?
A random token. We haven't decided which one yet, but please jump in our Discord and fill out the form. We're asking for your Solana and ETH address so that we can send you your prizes. You can find the link to our Discord either on screen with the QR code or go to tastycrypto.com, scroll down, and there's a link. Frank is asking, is iPhone more secure for crypto wallets?
I don't think necessarily it matters, but I've found out recently that mobile wallets are actually more secure than your browser wallet, because your phone has a secure chip in it, and that's how they like secure the seed phrase. So I guess mobile wallets are more secure in some ways.
Interesting.
Unless you obviously don't store anything on the phone in plain text, but
Yeah, don't do that. Don't store your seed phrase or anything important in a note. Congrats, Crypto Priest. We'll do a couple more and then we'll get to it. I'm excited for today's show. It's a little bit of like a speculative conversation, but it'll be fun. Mac Yank, congrats. All right, one more. Sonia.
Tastycrypto.
Congrats. So what are we talking about today, Dan?
So I think we're doing a general discussion about like on-chain things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like where we think that's probably going to go and how things will be implemented on-chain and just the future of all that.
Yeah, it was interesting. I hung out with my daughter last week, which was amazing, and I got to meet a few of her new friends from college. And one of her friends asked, she's like, "Where do you see crypto? Like, what, like in the future?" And I was like, "That's a good question." And my answer to her was, I think everything's just going to be on chain, and you won't know.
Right.
It's going to be less about like this new tech, and people are just going to be using it without knowing how it works or why it's doing what it's doing. It's just going to be tech.
You're going to be using it like a normal application.
Exactly.
And you don't need to worry about switching chains or, bridging one form of a stable coin to another chain and, bridging all this stuff and gas. And I think it's just going to be
far more seamless.
Seamless, yeah. But everything I think will end up being on chain in some way. You'll have like sort of these blockchain operating systems, right? That'll replace sort of this centralized server model or whatever, Because I mean, where do you majority of your applications, Instagram, Twitter, banking apps, like they're being all ran in a cloud instance somewhere. It's an AWS instance or some other storage instance, right? Like, maybe.
Which, okay, cloud. That still just means it's on a server somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
In some warehouse.
Yeah, it's just that you don't, as the company or the maker, don't need like a physical server on site.
Right.
You're just tapping into somebody's instance somewhere,
Which is still centralized.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, I think more and more decentralized, or at least like more decentralized, maybe not super or all the way. I think there's going to be like a spectrum of decentralization and central.
Yeah.
So somewhere on there, which is inherently more secure. But so anyway, that was my answer to her. Like, I think everything's moving on chain eventually. It's just we won't be so aware of it.
Right.
So with that, today's episode is going to be about just a conversation, an open-ended conversation about like, how do you think things will behave on chain in different industries? Film, music, art, business, gaming. I'll show you a few things that I've seen in the very early phases of development, and we can just have a fun conversation about it. So with that said, do you want to pull up our word, or is that on screen already?
It's on screen, yep.
Okay. So yeah, on chain just means it's on the blockchain, but do you want to read the definition just
for
the audio?
So on-chain refers to any action, transaction, or data that is recorded directly on a blockchain. On-chain activity is transparent, immutable, and verified by anyone, making it a foundational aspect of decentralized systems. So I think this is just very simply anytime you're interacting with a blockchain. And it could be like a centralized permission blockchain, it could be a layer 2, it could be a decentralized layer 1. It's anytime you're interacting with a blockchain. Right? So that, to your point, will become more prevalent, I think, as we move on here, and really nobody will know.
Yeah.
You won't really know you're interacting with Solana or Base or whatever.
Right.
But it's interesting because I think tech kind of follows the same pattern, where all the speculation comes from like the new shiny object or this incremental or exponential improvement over previous stuff, and it's just like normal people don't really care.
Yeah.
It's really like hobbyists or like deep research nerds, like stuff that people, like very small minority segments of a user base would care about. So that's why I think we need to get to a point where everything's abstracted away, which ETH just upgraded Pectra, which is making it so you can have smart wallets. It's making it a more seamless experience. Gas limits are higher. Gas is cheaper. I think we're getting there, right?
Yeah.
But to your point, it is a spectrum, right? So there is permissioned, there is like a permissioned single validator, blockchain layer 2 that provides an environment for a project or a company or an application to run and be
Hold on, let's Sesame Street it for a second.
Okay.
For people that don't understand permission and permissionless, can you explain a little bit about what that means?
Yeah, so the way I like to think about it is permission would be like a single entity sort of whitelisting certain smart contracts or certain user bases to interact with their instance of a blockchain, right?
Okay.
Permissionless would be like open. It's an open protocol. Anybody can deploy something. You can interact with it at at the base layer, and there really isn't any, there's no like party that's monitoring what's going on on the chain. And I think this is a little bit more geared toward, I think, layer 2s or enterprise blockchain systems, right? There's so many instances of this. It's not just like a
Which blockchains are permissionless and which are require permission? If that's the right way to say that. Solana is permissionless, isn't it?
I think most of the layer 1s are.
Yeah.
Permission blockchain are like I think those are like cohort blockchains or stuff where companies kind of spin up their own instance of a blockchain, right? I think eventually we'll get to sort of like Base. So Base is a big one, right? Backed by Coinbase in some ways. I don't know if you would consider it permissioned, but I think it'll be like a level of KYC. Like they're going to get to a level where the apps you're using on that chain, you have to be verified in some, like you know what I mean? Because they're not going to just let anybody use their chain, and it's we're getting to something like that,
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I took us off on a little bit of a tangent, but good morning, Jose. And Ben says, I feel like eventually we're going to have systems that are the crypto wallet version of logging into sites with Gmail or something. That is an excellent way to explain it, because that's typically how I use my wallet. It's just like log in with Gmail. When you go to a new site and it's like connect with Google and you have that button, and if you're already logged into Chrome or whichever browser with that Gmail, you can just log in seamlessly. Same concept with a wallet. If you have your wallet connected, it'll just it contains your information, and that's how you're participating in activities. Then, because it's on chain, you can log those activities, so you have like a record of where you've been, where you've interacted.
Yeah, and I just looked it up real quick, permission versus permissionless, and basically permission just comes down to that you need to be like approved to join the network. Something called Hyperledger, which was sponsored by a few different companies like Microsoft, Linux, stuff like that. That sort of runs like supply chain. It's like more of a enterprise blockchain, if you heard that word, which is more practical for like business use cases. But permissionless is Bitcoin, ETH, Cardano, Solana. Anybody can join. Like really, anybody can join the network, send and receive transactions, or operate a node, right? That's kind of the difference is, can you join the network versus do you have to get approval to join the network? Yeah. So, I think...
is that synonymous with decentralization then? I guess not entirely, but are decentralized networks inherently permissionless then?
I don't know. It's a good question. I wonder where that kind of fits into the whole discussion. I guess decentralization I would consider more like there isn't a heavy concentration of validators or nodes sort of approving transactions, processing transactions. There's, anybody can join, run a node, and it's, a little bit more robust when it comes to the network. Whereas I think it's more centralized. It's single validators,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, where would we like to go first with what do we see moving on chain, and what could it or might it look like?
I think the easiest thing to take a look at are content. I think content and media assets will move on chain in the sense that there'll be like a token or something attached to it.
So you're thinking like the Zora
Zoras,
concept.
rodeo, social media will be, I think, move on chain.
Well, we're already seeing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's a level of like identity or verification or trust that we're still like, or reputation rather, not trust, but reputation. Like, I think we're still missing an aspect of that. Because, some of these centralized social media networks, you don't really know how the algorithm's working. You don't really know who's a bot, heavy spam, heavy control over what content you're being served. Whereas I feel like some of these decentralized apps, Zora and others, it's kind of just being, you're curating your own network, essentially. So I think stuff like that is big. Real world assets, to go back to that kind of cliche, RWAs, dollars are moving on chain. I think stable coins, right? That's on chain. It's on chain dollars. It's
And just to clarify, because I was seeing some headlines and people like, oh, they didn't pass the stablecoin bill. They didn't not pass it.
Yeah.
They just put it off.
Right.
Like, they need more time to discuss it, so it was just, they didn't proceed with voting on it.
Right.
So it's not shut down, it's just put off for now.
Right. Yeah.
I think, well, we've seen art on chain, right, in the form of NFTs, tokenizing assets like that. We've seen music on chain in the form of music NFTs. Although I think, are we still sharing my screen, or do you want to share yours?
I can share your screen.
Okay. We've seen platforms like Sound.xyz, Launch My NFT, where you can produce music. Zora, you can put music videos or just still graphics with music on there. So we've got music, art. Film is an interesting one that I'd like to discuss, because I think in traditional, like, Hollywood, there's less and less funding available for big movies because they just can't make as much anymore. We don't sell DVDs, like VHS. Box office isn't what it used to be. Not everybody goes to the theater. So these streaming platforms like Netflix, Hulu, yada yada, there's not a lot of, like, the model has changed for big movies. So, okay, what's the next evolution then? I think that things like this, oops, here I am at a broken site. Let me find. Film 3 is something I found quite a while ago, but I think it's film3.xyz. And I was just on this site like 2 days ago. Why is it .org?
I think to your point, though, that's why I say, like, content, media, IP, things that in general were either centrally controlled or very hard for, like, the average creator to kind of break into. That's kind of been my loose thesis all along, has been that blockchain's going to enable, or these, like, crypto is going to enable more better social media, better content, better advertising networks. Because that's kind of what the internet turned into. The internet was really like a publishing, was really started off as like a publishing platform for text, basic text, right? Like anybody could kind of get on the internet in the early days. There was chat forums, research papers were huge. And so I don't like to think of crypto as only a currency or an alternative financial system. I think it's enforcing property rights on the internet, digital property rights, and that extends. And really, the market for that is way bigger in, like, IP, content creation, publishing, stuff like that. Music. So I do think that there is a bigger market for what you're talking about with, like, film and creative stuff, gaming,
Gosh.
For sure.
Gaming, business, all sorts of things. But I think it's interesting that this concept of film on chain basically allows more crowdfunding to happen in terms of like good creative ideas.
Right.
So just to put it very simply, like, all right, let's pick a movie, Jurassic Park, okay? If it wasn't in the hands of like a big studio, what if we as a community could be like, ooh, that's gonna do well, let's help fund it.
Right.
And so we buy asset, a tokenized asset in this film, and then when it takes off, or if it takes off, you get rewarded.
Right.
Because your stock in this film is worth more.
Right.
But like, yes, please, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So,
So I did find, I do remember one project that kind of fits this.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Vabble.
What is it called?
Vabble.
Vabble?
It's up on the screen right now. Think Netflix powered by blockchain. So
Love that.
this does have that element of what you're talking about. You can stake Vabble tokens to fund, exchanges on the network. Here's a film exchange they built. I'm not an active user of this, but this is exactly, I think, what you're talking about. Today's entertainment, tomorrow's technology, right? Decentralized streaming where anyone can use cryptocurrency and blockchain for something enjoyable. Peer-to-peer payment model for renting content and films. Use NFTs to access exclusive and premiere content and movies. Get rewards back for being active and seeing advertisements. There's that element of ads. And then take control over how much you spend and what you spend it on. So has something called the VFX token. I don't know what that's trading at. Maybe somebody here can look into it. But this is one of the first kind of projects that I've seen that are trying to capitalize on like streaming movies, content, video. I think this is exactly what you are talking about. There was another project, some filmmaker reached out to me 2 years ago and was like, I'm trying to crowdfund for an independent film. It was like some European film. Reached out me in DMs and asked me to buy his NFT to kind of you get added as like on the credits. And I did, to support him. I forgot, I think it was called like, it's some Spanish film like Caladita. I can look it up, but that was another area where I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting. You kind of use the NFTs to crowdfund to get this independent film produced. It was like an independent short film, essentially. But I do think, to your point, I think it's like enforcing digital property rights, and that extends into content and digital media a lot more than... I think that has a way bigger effect on society in the future than just DeFi or just like meme coins or whatever. And in some way, meme coins are extensions of that idea of like content, internet culture, things that have value within networks that can now have like direct economic value or direct monetary value. So yeah, I do think everything will be eventually, everything that you need to enforce a property right on will be on chain,
Love that. Speaking of meme coins, I'm feeling the bull market vibes trickle in.
We are back up above 100K.
And ETH is doing well. This wallet is not my main wallet, but Snoopy Babe seeing a breath of life, which is funny because on Bag Battles, Mike Butler went all in on Snoopy Babe, and
never heard of it.
We were calling him the S-Babe Daddy because it was an AI token being pumped by like, actually, I'm sorry, it was not an AI token. There was like, it was very strange, like cat meme, because he was like, I like Snoopy, let's get in on Snoopy Babe. And then I researched it a little more. I'm like, this is a cat meme token. It's ridiculous. But in any case, anytime we tweeted about it, this whole like Snoopy Babe community was like, Mike Butler. And so it was very funny. But so I bought some, and so to see it climb back up a little bit, I was like, oh, look at that. So, yeah. Mikey B, S-Babe Daddy. That was our internal funny joke name for him. But anyway, shout out to anybody in the bull market that's feeling their bags recover, because that feels nice. Ben says, and hello, Gary. Ben says, Kevin Smith already released an NFT movie like a year ago, so you guys are both on the right track. It's called Kilroy Was Here. I didn't hear about that.
Who's Kevin Smith?
Kevin Smith? Jay and Silent Bob? He's Silent Bob.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Is a phrase and meme that gained popularity during World War II as a form of graffiti and a symbol of American soldiers' presence.
What?
Meme? Or movie?
NFT movie? I can't see your screen, so I'm all squinty looking. I don't have this set up correctly.
Kilroy Was There at Kevin Smith's NFT movie. Interesting.
That's cool. So it was released as 5,555 exclusive non-fungible tokens on July 12, 2022 on Legendao, Secret Networks NFT minting platform. Interesting. I had never heard of this. It is the first feature film to be released as an NFT. Dan, we were not paying attention.
I've never heard of it. I heard of Secret Network and never used it though.
Is it still tradable? Can you find it? Because that would be fun to see if it's still trading.
Stash. Okay, here's a seat. Yeah, okay.
What is Stash?
No idea.
This is like a... What currency? SSCRT?
Secret.
Oh, Secret.
Yeah.
And they're only $50?
Never heard of this. Wow. I didn't even know Secret Network had NFTs.
Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. Well, this is intriguing. It's a comic book store they own in Burbank, New Jersey. Interesting. Okay, I want to dig some more into this because just for the culture, I like to have things like this in my bag. $30 is the floor price, it says. For the culture, Dan, for the culture.
I do not have Secret, and I don't even know what wallet.
No, this is going to take a little bit of research. Like what? A little bit. Okay, perfect example, because I've been trying to help people navigate the space, and they're like, I'm so confused. And people are like, I feel stupid. I'm like, no, that's everyone.
Yeah.
Like, here we are sitting here like, how do we even get it? We don't know. It's a, like, just fuck around and find out, FAFO your way into figuring out how to find it.
Yeah, but this is the thing, is like these chains that are sort of obscure, I would say, or not as mainstream as like the majors. You need like it's like Kepler wallet is like the...
Yeah.
It's like a completely different wallet that I guess supports Cosmos infrastructure.
Okay.
Let's see what chains. Yeah, this Kepler wallet is like it has like 309 chains on it.
Sheesh.
Secret Network. Terra, yeah, Kepler was big, like a Terra Luna wallet.
Okay. Interesting. I like Kevin Smith. What's the movie, Dogma?
Never heard of that one either.
Is it Dogma?
I know Jay and Silent Bob, but
Am I thinking of the right movie? Dogma. Someone help. With, like, Alanis Morissette as God? Yeah. You haven't seen Dogma? Oh, good grief. Okay. Dan needs a movication.
where is your... I'll take to your screen.
All right, so movies on chain. Dan needs to watch Dogma. In chat, has anybody seen Dogma? Am I alone in this? Homework, Dan. Yes, you do.
Dogma.
Dogma.
Is it a comedy?
Yes. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Alanis Morissette plays God. It's wonderful.
Really?
Oh yeah,
When was it released?
a long time ago. Let's see. Cast. Go here. 99. Dark comedy.
Dogma.
Yeah, I don't know how you haven't seen it. It's pretty brilliant. And you know, I watched it. Ben, Dogma is the best movie ever. I watched it, I don't know, within the last couple of years, and I was like, this actually holds up. It's still really great.
Well, Matt Damon's in it.
Uh-huh.
Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are in it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it was written by Kevin Smith and directed by Kevin Smith. So, yeah, 99. Ben says, watch Dogma, Clerks 1, 2, and 3, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and Tusk. Tusk.
Isn't Clerks, wasn't that originally like a black and white, like or was it Jay and Silent Bob? That he originally wasn't there one that was like black and white that had no sound?
I think it was maybe Jay and Silent Bob, first one? Maybe? I don't know. But yeah, you definitely got homework. Maybe we should plan to watch that on the plane to Toronto. All right. Film on chain. That's a speculation that we're thinking is going to be in the future. What else?
I mean, I think the most obvious one is gaming.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be the biggest one. Gaming and social media, I think, will be the one where we'll see have very outsized effects on mainstream society.
Okay, so let's do this. Clerks was black and white, debuted at Con? How do you say that? I'm such a...
I don't know. I've never...
Anyway, had sound, originally had an alternate ending that was super dark. I have a pretty dark sense of humor, so that's awesome. So, with gaming, what have we seen already, like early signs of life? And then where do you think it's going?
Well, I think there's specific gaming chains that are basically built to host games, just like Steam or just like, any of the other major gaming publishers, Epic Games. Actually, Epic Games did integrate blockchain and NFTs into it. But like Immutable X, Beam, obviously Ronin from Axie Infinity. I think all of these gaming platforms will have a version of like NFTs or on-chain, assets. And a classic example of that I think is like CS:GO. These like CS:GO skins have been huge. They've been like trading kind of similar to what NFTs were back a couple years ago. I don't know much about this game. I know it's been around for years, but I don't play this. I just know from seeing it online that their skins are trading hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I don't know where there's marketplace. I mean, maybe there's a marketplace or something, CS:GO skin marketplace.
Let's see. D market. I'm scared. Is this legit?
I think so.
No cookies for you. Oh yeah, look at this, $4,500. So sign up via Steam. Targets on sale. Wow. Ew. Let me shop without signing in. All right. Yeah. Okay. So we're seeing signs of life that are leaning all towards more gaming on chain. I think my experience in Decentraland, that was more of a combination of social and on-chain gaming because it was less game focused and more social, like in-world socialization with games in that world, but it wasn't focused entirely on gaming.
But that's a very clear example of, I think, something being a little bit ahead of its time. Because the concept made sense, and also we've had like a Second Life is a big like virtual reality platform. VR chat is another big one, where that concept of like social media and virtual worlds kind of mesh together, but it doesn't have the underlying like decentralized protocol underneath it. So a little bit harder to implement some of this stuff.
But here you see same concept, NFT-based wearables that you can wear in-game. So similar to a skin, it's just instead of downloading an entire skin, you're downloading a piece of clothing, and then you build your own skin.
But this is what I mean, though. Like, this system is better because there isn't like a central server that can just take these skins away from you. Whereas at CS:GO, you can't. Like, there isn't like a CS:GO blockchain. You know, they can discontinue items. They can kind of rug your wallet. They can make things not compatible. Whereas here, these items that you buy, you own. And I think like that's a really powerful idea, right? Especially for like virtual worlds, virtual gaming, virtual social spaces.
Yeah, agreed. And these are created by anyone.
Anyone, yeah.
So if you know how to make 3D designs in Blender, all the documents are here to learn how to create. So creator docs make wearables, emotes, scenes, games, and more. Jump on over, and then you can start listing them in this marketplace.
Yeah, I don't think CS:GO is not like that, right?
I don't think so. But
there isn't like there isn't like a creator studio.
Doesn't look like it. Skin. Yeah, like who's creating those? I imagine it's just the game.
Like, yeah.
Who creates? Both Valve and community designers. Valve, the game's developer, creates the base models for weapons, and then the community contributes designs, which then considers for inclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is there's still Valve Corporation still has
owns the keys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like these are created by members of the actual community. Like where was this? I just saw Old Guy is his name, but he looks like recently released this mythic, which means there's only 10 in existence, Grill Master Belt. His entire theme in Decentraland is grilling. Like,
that's pretty funny.
His build on his land is just a giant smoker, and so like you party inside the smoker. Like you're on the grate, the bottom is coals. It's very cool.
That's really cool,
so,
actually.
Shout out to Old Guy. But so yeah, I don't know him in real life, but like,
what is going on now in Decentraland? Are you?
I'm not active in there as like I used to be, but I still have friends in there that are consistently doing events and building and learning because they transitioned from SDK 6 to SDK 7. So if you were able to keep up with that and move over, there's still things to do. Not a lot, but it'd be great to see more activity move back over there. Hyperfi, I know that V2 is going to explode at some point. I haven't spent enough time over there either. We have to have some guests come on. So
Yeah.
open invite. If you're building in any world, come on, let's talk.
If you're an on-chain creator, we want to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There it is. Nice way to say it, Dan. Nice and succinct. But so you've built in Hyperfi V1. Have you built anywhere else? No.
No, and I'm not really a creator. Like I don't know how to use Blender. I don't really do any of that. I just can find them. I have like a vision for what I want to do, and I find the people to enact the vision.
Yeah.
So when I was building in Hyperfi, I built it as like a virtual hangout for our community where we eventually hosted like music events and just stuff like that, and it did actually work. And there, again, if I stayed consistent with it and NFTs were still popular, I probably could have had bigger events, but it was just a little hangout. It was kind of it was a good concept. It was fun. But you can kind of see where some of this like virtual world stuff is going.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about Roblox?
I know it's really popular. I know that's kind of that is the base for a lot of this stuff. Like people in Roblox is sort of,
It's where the kids are.
yeah, it's a virtual universe. I mean, I've never been in it. I don't.
You've never been in it?
No.
Old man Dan in the house.
Yeah.
Okay. I act like I'm so young.
Do you?
I've been in Roblox.
I've done Minecraft, but
So we should do a Roblox day where we just run around and play and experience, because I think it's so important for us and our age group to understand what the kids are doing, because they're the future.
Right.
Okay, so Roblox is bigger than everything. Okay, it's enormous. There are 15-year-olds making millions of dollars building maps. Okay, like, it's bonkers what's going on over here. And the platform, like the way that it works, I don't know all of this in and out, but like Robux is their currency. And so I think that if you were to go in and like build a game and then start driving traffic to it, if you drive enough traffic, you get paid in Robux for a certain like an amount of traffic. But then if you have traffic coming in that are monthly membership payers, terrible way of saying that, but like monthly subscribers to Roblox, you get a certain amount of that membership. So I think that's kind of how their like payment system works. But there's how many users?
I know it's a publicly traded company. Like I know you can invest in it. It's on my like watch list because I know. Yeah, I mean, I know it's the most popular virtual world. Like essentially, like I know it blows anything out of the water that like crypto has, or even Minecraft isn't as popular as Roblox. I know that.
So 380 million monthly active users. 88.9 million daily active users, with over 4.6 billion accounts created. 4.6 billion accounts have been created on Roblox.
That's crazy.
It's bananas. So pay attention to what the kiddos are up to.
But that's what I mean. Like this is something where it maybe it won't be as like a crypto system would underpin this. Like eventually, you know, I guess it doesn't need to, but I do see like a reason for an open source blockchain to underpin a world like this, you know, because at the end of the day, all this stuff is still sitting on a single server somewhere, or a couple instances of a server. Whereas, you know, they can limit, eventually the company will probably limit how much payouts is going, right? It's kind of the same story over and over again. So, yeah, I do think there's something there, you know?
I'd love to hear from parents that have kids they're playing in Roblox, because I know that we were running Twitter Spaces back when I was in Decentraland, and we had one of our friends bring his daughter on and co-host the show with us, and she was teaching us Roblox, and it was adorable. And I was like, oh my gosh, these kids are so primed to be on chain because they're already thinking in this way.
Right.
Like, building your own worlds, creating or, running your own full ecosystem with currency and wearables and things. And Kronos just said there are projects within Roblox already using NFTs. That's correct. So I know one of the musicians I used to work with, Buffalo, he and his team were building in Roblox and incorporating their NFTs over here. Like if you were to do something in NFT world over here, it would give you in-game perks over in their Roblox world.
Interesting.
So that wasn't necessarily on-chain. That was more of a like, we know what you're doing on-chain with us, so we'll reward you over here. So it wasn't directly connected, but things like that are happening all the time.
Yeah. Kronos says the issue is Roblox does not allow any other type of currency outside of Roblox to compete with Robux.
Yeah.
And that model makes sense. Like,
Sure.
I'm not saying that this is like a, something that they need to implement blockchain, but there at some point I think they do limit how much growth you can have, or at some point like not having this like interoperability of anybody using their own currency and enforcing some type of digital property rights within it, because Roblox Corporation owns the whole thing, right? At the end of the day, if they wanted to change creator payouts, if they wanted to ban someone, if they wanted to discontinue a certain world or whatever, the players don't really have any, or the users have nothing, you know what I mean? And that's why there is a case to be made for this other way, right? And we see the downsides of DAO, like Decentraland DAO doesn't really work, right? But at some point I think it will, like even though
it's messy. It's not that
messy,
it doesn't work, it's just messy.
Right.
And as a former blogger, and shout out to my sister, my partner in blogging crime. There was no crime, but she very quickly was such an advocate for owning your stuff. You need to own it. And as like a social media veteran, we were pioneering all these these channels as they were coming out. Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram, Vine, TikTok, all of them, but we owned the blog. The blog was ours, because anytime those algorithms changed, your engagement would tank. And when, as an influencer or a blogger, content creator, if your engagement tanks, your revenue stream tanks. So if you're not in control of that, how do you run a business?
Right.
So it was like, okay, we own this, the .com. Own it. That's mine. Anything else is an amplification strategy, which can be altered, and you never put all your eggs in one basket. So that was such a great lesson to learn. And so like the same concept applies to these worlds. Like, okay, cool, yeah, Roblox has the traffic. There's a lot of trust, because they can rug pull you at any time, in the sense that they're going to change the rules.
Right.
I'm not saying Roblox is going to rug. Roblox is going to rug. But there's the use case for something like Hyperfi.
Right.
Because that's yours.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Love that.
Cool. Should we do a couple giveaways?
We're going to do some giveaways, and then we have a few quick questions. First one to answer correctly will win a prize. Kronos did say Buffalo did it the right way. I kept the NFT part outside of Roblox, but it allowed benefits within Roblox for the NFT holders. Exactly. Well said. All right, everybody. Who's here? Is your name not on the wheel? Say something in chat. Ruvanchi, congrats. We are giving away $1 in USDC plus a random Zora token. Oh, I need to reset this wheel and make sure we've got everybody's name on here. We'll do that in just a second. Two-time winner, Shatal Godera, ×2. Make sure you jump in our Discord and give us your wallet address. Got everybody? Do it one more time. Reset. Do you want to read what Ben just said?
In that vein, maybe games like Roblox will create their own tokens or coins or whatever for exclusive use on their system. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think this goes back to like the permission versus permissionless. Maybe some of these platforms will implement something of a permission blockchain, permission ledger. I do think that there's always going to be like rules. Like there really is something to be said about, these applications having their own control over certain things. It can go badly, obviously, but I don't think permissionless blockchain is the answer for everything.
I think you need some adults in the room.
Right.
Because without any...
Because, like, it's content moderation. Like, Zora, and how do you figure this out? Like, who's to say? This is what Facebook ran into with the whole, like, political stuff. And I think that's what is powerful about Azora, or powerful about some of these others, is there is a built-in content moderation where I think if you post, naturally the network will kind of like post or like kick you out. Like, if you're posting something illicit or whatever, not only will it not show, but are people going to collect? Like, people aren't going to really like collect that or engage with it, right?
Right.
So.
Welcome, Tony. Tony, we need your wallet info, I believe. If I remember correctly, we need
Immaculate
it from last
Tony,
week.
yeah.
He's immaculatetony.eth, but I think we need your Solana address. So jump in our Discord and fill out that form so we have your info. Bebs, congrats. You've just won. Apsy's a 2-time winner. Kronos won. Banshee. We'll do one more and then we'll jump to questions. Kronos also just said something interesting if you want to read that.
They already have. The second largest gaming platform, Zepido, already has its own version, its own blockchain version, ZTX. Yeah, I mean, I think of like Immutable X, I think of Beam, and I think of Ronin as like the big gaming chains.
Gala Games? What was
Gala
that?
Games was... I never got deep into it. I know
Okay.
it's a thing, yeah.
Red Arm.
Zynga does have a game called Sugar Town. It's an NFT type game. But yeah, I think we'll see that. Gaming will be the... I think it's all going to be gaming is going to be like the major use case here.
Yeah. And congrats to Gary. All right. First question. First one to answer correctly will win a prize. What does tokenization allow creators to do? 1A, make their work impermanent. 1B, convert assets into digital tokens on a blockchain. 1C, hide ownership records. 1D, instantly print physical goods. Type in chat the correct answer first to get on the winning list. How many things do you think you've tokenized?
Probably over 100.
Yeah, but you had a 10K collection.
Yeah, but I don't consider like my own content.
Your own? Okay.
Yeah. I had a 10K. I mean, I had a 10K NFT collection. I did another 10K 3D collection. But like, I didn't consider that like tokenization. I consider that just like an NFT collection. Tokenization is like
Right.
me posting on Zora or whatever, or like me creating a meme coin.
Okay.
How about you? Did you ever have an NFT collection? You didn't do it. Like,
No, I worked with an NFT project. I've released my own NFTs in the form of like wearables in Decentraland, emotes, things like that. Content on Zora. So yeah, I don't know. And then I've done collaborative work with a lot of artists. But
Yeah, I mean, I do think like even going back to that discussion we had with Rocky, like I think that's just like such a powerful use case. Is like there's going to be these like independent artists that will kind of be able to launch their career based on this.
well, I messed this up again because I didn't reset the results when we first did it. So congrats, Apsy. You were first to answer correctly. So we've got you down for ×3. Oh, there they go. The correct answer is B. Convert assets into digital tokens on a blockchain. That was what tokenization allows creators to do. Second question. When something is on chain, it means 2A, it's a traditional paper record. 2B, it's kept in a private database. 2C, it's only viewable offline. Or 2D, it's stored permanently on a blockchain. Answer in chat, be the first to answer correctly, and you will win a prize. $1 in USDC plus a Zora token. Maybe we'll launch something today, and then that'll be the prize.
Yeah.
Maybe the meme of the week or your new Dan hates the image I made for him.
I don't hate it. I just think it's suggestive.
Okay.
If you want to interpret it that way.
That's fair. That's fair.
I wasn't bad. I was just like, what the...
I was like, oh no. All right, Ben Butler. First one to answer correctly with 2D. It's stored permanently on a blockchain is the correct answer. Nice work. Let's see. Last question. An interoperability feature in Web3 refers to 3A, chains refusing to communicate, 3B, different blockchains working together smoothly, 3C, only one blockchain ever being used, 3D, encryption that can't be broken.
Beans. Tasty crypto.
Just gonna start doing all of
Our sound effects?
yeah, we don't use these enough. I do believe Apsy came in with the first correct answer. So Apsy is our 4-time winner today. 4 times. Congratulations. So friends, we will be back in a week from today because we're heading to Toronto for Consensus 2025.
Yes, we are.
Follow us on socials. We'll be tweeting from the event and sharing anything interesting in our Discord.
Should I bring my gimbal? Should I bring my...
Yeah, Dan?
Should we record some content?
We should.
Should we put like a music montage together?
Maybe too far. But we should definitely just do some fun stuff for Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, we should. Shelley's buying us all dinner one night, I heard.
McDonald's. Just kidding. Just kidding. All right, everybody, have a wonderful week. Thank you for being here. Congrats to our winners. If you haven't already, please jump in our Discord and fill out that form so we have your wallet info to send you all these prizes. I think we are behind for last week, so everything will go out this week. We'll see you next week on Monday.
We'll see you next Monday.
Thanks all.
Bye.